Hey guys, what is up? I am Maisie with Barbecue by Maisie. If you are new here, wow, are you in for a treat? And if you are coming back, oh, I sure do appreciate you. All right, let's get down to business. We are smoking a brisket today. I'm all jacked up on excitement. My daughter just told me I smell like a steak. Doesn't get much better than this, folks.
Listen, before we get started, if you're here because you're gonna smoke your first brisket or you're thinking about smoking a brisket, quit thinking about it and just do it. The biggest mistake I made when I started smoking is I put off making a brisket for way too long. I was intimidated. At the end of the day, it's a hunk of meat. You're not gonna screw it up that bad to where you can't eat it. And it's just fun. Just jump right in and just try it and have fun. All right, so I have a cheap Kroger brisket. It went on sale, picked it up for like 30 bucks. So today what I'm going to do is just walk you through every single step of making this brisket. I've watched a lot of videos, I've cooked a brisket several times, and throughout that I just kind of pick out the bits and pieces of the process that I like, and I hope you will do the same. So I got the brisket on early this morning, so last night I prepped my brisket. I trimmed it.
All right, so we're going to start on the back of the brisket. Your main goal here is to remove some of the hard fat and trim the thicker fat down a little bit. You don't want to take too much off. This is a mistake I've made in the past. Now we're going to work on the front, take off the silver skin and some more of the hard fat, but really that's it. Just make sure you're not over trimming.
Seasoned it.
I'm using that W sauce as a binder, and then I am going to be using Pit Boss Texas barbecue rub as my first layer, and then the smoky salt cracked pepper as my second layer. I just like the combination of the two.
And I woke up super early with my baby this morning, and we got it put on the Pit Boss Brunswick.
I prefer getting an early morning start on the brisket rather than overnight. It just allows you to put more effort into building that bark.
So real quick, why I chose to smoke it on the Brunswick as opposed to something like my Navigator or my grill. I'm using my vertical smoker. Whenever you're smoking a big piece of meat, the further you can get the meat away from the fire source, the better. So if you are smoking it on a grill, then you have a rack in your grill, or you could make a makeshift rack with some bricks and a grill grate. Just try and get your brisket up and away from the heat. I know it's not always possible, just do your best. On the Brunswick, I have got my brisket up on the third shelf away from the fire. Starting this cook off at a nice ripe 225, and I am using a smoke tube to add a little extra smoke. Always got those whiners out there that are like, oh, the pellet grill just doesn't provide enough smoke. Get out of here. But I would highly suggest utilizing a smoke tube.
So we are not going to do anything with this brisket until it starts to look a little thirsty. That'll probably be in a couple hours. You know what? Let's just, come on, let's check it. Come on, let me show you why we're not spritzing. When I touch the top, I can feel it's kind of not quite dry. You don't want to start spritzing until it's dry, or you're just going to spray your rub right off. And we want to build a nice spark, so we're going to be patient. So I usually don't start spritzing until at least 2 hours into the cook. We're going to be there in about 45 minutes or so. So we'll come check on it at that point and see if it's ready for a nice little but until then, just going to head in, crack a nice Diet Coke on the rocks, eat a little breakfast. Football's on today, go Steelers. Enough of the silliness. Cooking a brisket today.
Okay, so we're right at the 2 hour mark. It's looking pretty dry to me, so I've just got a squirt bottle of apple juice. I'm just gonna get the whole brisket spritzed down. So we will come check on it in about another hour and see if she needs another little drink.
All right, let's take a little look-see. It's been almost an hour and a half. Had to leave the house for a little bit. So I'm gonna give it another spritz. All right, you guys, it has been 5 hours into this cook. I've got a meat probe in there. We're sitting at about 150 degrees. We are approaching the point where I will start to consider wrapping, but I'm not gonna wrap until the color and the bark are right where I want it. So let's go check this brizzy out. All right, we have got phenomenal color. I'm gonna let it keep going. I'm gonna get that temperature up and just kind of let that bark keep developing a little bit. So we're gonna hold off on wrapping.
At this point, I'm going to give it one last spritz with apple juice, and we are going to throw it in some butcher paper. So let's do that now.
We got our brisket. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I had this on the smoker fat down. So my fat cap is still down against the paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the smoker meat side down. So now the fat cap is on the top. Okay, one quick note on why I choose to wrap with butcher paper. So basically you can not wrap with butcher paper, wrap with foil, or there's a foil boat method, which I contemplated trying today. I've never done it, but I didn't want to do it for the first time in this video. I am interested in trying it. The butcher paper kind of holds your bark in place the best. I think foil tends to soften it up. I can't recommend wrapping in foil personally. Anyway, not wrapping is also fine. Your cook will just take a little bit longer. It's important to keep in mind that the longer your cook is taking, your meat is going to be drying out. So if you're trying to do your cook at a super low temperature the whole time, I know it's enticing. You want to get that smoke in there. You want to cook it low and slow, but it tends to dry out the meat. So that's why I slowly increase the temperature. It's just going to speed the cook up a little bit. Wrapping is also going to speed the cook up a little bit. Personally, I can't speak on the foil boat method. I've heard some people really like it. Some people aren't a fan. So all I can tell you is to try that out for yourself. Okay, so now we have our nice little brisket present all wrapped up cute. Remember, fat cap is on the top now. I've got the meat side on the bottom. My reasoning for that is I want the fat to now just kind of ooze down into the meat that way. But if you do it different, that's all good. I am going to bump the temperature of my smoker up from 225 now to 250. So right now, after the wrap, we're 6 hours in. Our smoker is at 250 degrees. At this point, we're just gonna let it smoke, and we're just waiting to see when it's nice and tender. So I probably won't check on it for another 3-4 hours. But when I do, you're gonna be the first to know about it.
All right, guys, bringing you in 9 hours into the cook. All I'm doing now is I'm just probing for tenderness. I like to use my Thermapin from Thermalworks, and I just want to push it in and kind of just see how it feels. It should feel like a hot knife going through butter. That felt pretty good, honestly. You can see we're in the high 190s.
All right, so we are getting pretty dang close to this thing being finished. I'm gonna bump the temperature up to 280. Just gonna speed it along a little more. I wanna make sure I have plenty of time to rest the brisket. You do not wanna rush through that part. I want that point just to be a little bit more tender. It's super close, but I got time to let it keep cooking, so we're just gonna let it ride here at 280. Okay guys, I just used my Thermapin to probe that brisket again, and it is going in like butter. So the internal temperature doesn't matter as much. We're in the high 200s, 202, 205 in some areas. But really how I know it's done is how it probes. So come on, come check it out. All right, so again, just using my Thermapin, and this side is the point. We got the flat down here. When I poke through that paper on the side, it just goes in. There's no resistance at all. Really what I'm going off of is feel, and you will know it when you feel it. So it's probing like we want, but that doesn't mean we just go and start slicing it. No, it's time to rest. I like to rest my brisket in the oven because I don't like getting a cooler out, but you can definitely still use a cooler. Also, if you're needing to rest your brisket for a longer period of time, you can bump it all the way down. My oven goes to 170, and you can hold it in there for quite a while. So I am gonna get this brisket inside in to the oven, and I am going to rest it until we're ready to eat it. All right, this brisket is fresh out of the oven. Super moist. Super moist.
She cuts real nice. Right, you can see those juices are running. Oh boy. Let's start with our flat here. I'm gonna take off this corner here. Looks good. About 1/4 inch slices. I can't wait to eat this. I am absolutely drooling right now. All right, let's get a piece of this flat. It is just absolutely falling apart. Perfect. Oh my gosh. I had to sneak a taste. I mean, what more do you want? Remember, this is the cheapest brisket I could find, and it's just absolutely perfect. Let's get some of this point. So the point, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it this way. Oh boy, this looks so good. I am telling you, brisket is just, it's one of my favorite things to cook and eat. I've been snacking on it. That was so good. All right, I'm gonna have a taste of the flat here. I mean, I've been eating it all along, but you know what I gotta do. Oh my gosh. It was so tender. Woo! I can't stop eating it. Listen, I'm telling you. Quit putting off brisket. Get one, cook it. Even if it's cheap. Still comes out delicious.
All right, you guys, smoking a brisket is honestly not that hard. Remember, this was a super cheap brisket I got on sale at Kroger, and it is so good. It's so moist. Oh, I can't wait to get inside and eat my dinner. That was a 10-hour cook with some rest time, about an 1.5 hour rest time. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. It was an absolute blast, if I do say so myself. You guys have a great rest of your day, and until next time, ta-ta.